Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another video. This time I just wanted to talk about, in brief, the downward trend in some of these big comic book keys. You know, what I think about it. Now look, I can't offer you any sort of comfort or any sort of market expertise and all that stuff because I don't have the background in any of that stuff. So if you're looking for some sort of like in-depth analysis of it, you've come to the wrong place. The only thing I could talk about is how I feel. To be quite honest with you, I haven't really given it that much thought. I mean, I've thought about it a little bit, but it's not something that has been keeping me up in the middle of the night, and I'll tell you why. Although I do have some big books in my collection, and you know, when you spend a certain amount of money or you have a certain amount if you have books that are worth or were worth a certain amount, you would think of them as investments. I guess you would think about that in those terms. Think about it in those terms. But I honestly haven't really given it too much thought. You know, a lot of the things that I bought, I think I'm okay with, to be quite honest. I don't overspend that much. On occasion, I do. With all things, sometimes I bite the bullet because I want it or I wanted to get something. That's not always the best way to go about things. Probably not the best way to go about things at all. But I don't really have too much of that, in my life. So I guess maybe that's why I'm not overly concerned. Do I think that things are going to continue to go down? Probably. Probably. Sometimes that's just the way it is. I guess you should be more careful on what you buy. Like, look, that's not going to stop me from buying books, but it's certainly going to stop me from paying high amounts of money on some of them. I would think that that's going to be the case for a lot of people. I mean, people that get into this hobby because they want to flip the books, whether they want to flip them sooner or later, very rarely do they spend top dollar on books, I would think, unless it's a big key that they think that they're going to make big money on down the line, where they make that money back and then some. But most of the time, though, I think that people buy when they can get things cheap. For now, with me, I'm trying to upgrade some books because I know since that some books are not as valuable or some of them have gone down in value, I try to upgrade my own collection, and I've been perfectly happy doing that. I haven't been going out there buying major key after major key. That is certainly a slow down for me quite a bit. I mean, there's still a big book I'd like to get, hopefully by the end of the year, but I'm certainly not going to spend prices or spend what it was last year in 2019 in 2020. Certainly not going to do that, and I don't have that urge to quickly go out and get something because I want it that bad where I'll overpay. Absolutely not. No way. I see people on Instagram with some of these big books and they're still trying to get big money for them. And I look at them and I'm like, well, like I've said in previous videos, you try to sell the books for, what you want to sell them for, But I wouldn't spend that much money on some of those big books. No way. At least for a while. I just don't. I don't see things really spiking that much with this year, at least 2020. Of course, there'll always be that spec book. What was some of the latest spec books people are talking about? Omega Red. X-Men 4. X-Men 4 is a common book. Like, there's so many of them out there. I've seen some X-Men 4s going for like $30, and that's, has to be in really, really good shape. And I guess there are some people that are spending more on it. I just have to ask you why. I mean, even if the Omega Red is going to be in what is he supposed to be in? The Winter Soldier, whatever. You know, how much longer do you think after that show's over, that the Omega Red's going to hold that level of popularity or value? I just don't get it. The way people just freak out. They hear a rumor or whatever, and then all of a sudden, some of these people have to get these books for their collection, and they buy when the prices are high. I just don't get it. So, the best thing that I can tell you is just be more mindful of what you buy. Hey, you could still enjoy this hobby, just be a little more careful what you purchase. Don't be so willing to overspend. You shouldn't really be willing to overspend on anything, whether it's comic books or games or whatever. Don't be so willing to overspend just because you have to have it. It's good to sit back and say to yourselves that, okay, maybe if I wait a little while, the copy for me will appear for a price I'm willing to pay, or maybe the book will go down a little bit where I could get it for a more affordable price. You should be a little more patient. I know sometimes that's hard. When you want something, you got to have it, and we have all these things like Instagram, eBay, online stores where we could just get them like that from the comfort of our own home, from me just sitting here in front of the computer. But if you're sitting back and you're wondering, or if you're worried about the value of some of the books that are in your collection, then you may want to reconsider doing that, overspending. I mean, it's just like with this coronavirus thing. Everyone's so worried about it, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be worried about it, but try to be more intelligent. Wash your hands before you put your finger in your mouth and all that. Just try to be more mindful of things, before you add things to your collection. Take care, everyone.